Well, I think we should start with what's happening on May 8th, because we're going to have several new whistleblowers, Green Berets, Marines, other military, who were on site while events were taking place. And for example, one of them was operational at a site where they were packaging up humans and putting them on the man-made UFOs to be used in human experimentation. And this has been confirmed by law enforcement and other witnesses, as well as people in the Department of Defense. So there's a big investigation going on, although it's been rather secret, that I've been involved with regarding the criminal use of UFO technologies against innocent civilians, not just here, but around the world. So we will have a number of new whistleblowers there. We'll have a gentleman who was operational at a black site where the technologies were used to down the extraterrestrial vehicles and capture those the people that were on board. And of course, these craft have been used in reverse engineering programs, which have been confirmed also by multiple independent whistleblowers. We're going to have something very extraordinary there. Most of your viewers probably don't know that back a year ago, there was an object of extraterrestrial origin that landed in Colombia, Buga, a little town called Buga, B-U-G-A, Colombia. And we have, that is secured in Mexico City, and we've done tests on it. It was flying around at tremendous speeds, but got too close to a power line and landed. And we have since tested it, and it is 12,560 years old. The alloy of the metal of the shell of this sphere, which is about the size of a large basketball, is an alloy that doesn't even exist on Earth today in the aerospace industry.
Wow, so you're about to reveal a confirmed crashed vehicle that 12,000 years, probably not then a human copy. Absolutely incredible. Am I wrong to say, I'm interrupting, that we're seeing an increase in UFO activity right now?
Well, we're certainly seeing an increase in the reporting, but I think what this is, I call it the boogosphere activations, where there's something going on with the magnetic field of the Earth or some type of cosmic radiation causing these to be activated. These have been around since the end of the last ice age, and all of a sudden they're coming up and flying around. And there are at least a dozen now videos and cases that we have, and we'll be showing these at the National Press Club. There's several things going on. For example, over South America, there's a well-documented change in the magnetic field of the Earth that's growing. And I believe that these same objects that perhaps were around during the end of the last ice age, when apparently a comet struck or some event like that, are picking these up, because these are not manned. These are only about this big. I mean, they're maybe 15 inches diameter, but they're spinning at about 300 RPMs and moving with anti-gravity propulsion systems.
Because the energy system has changed, now they're being activated.
Yes, I think they're being automatically activated. So I call this the boogosphere activations. It's a complex story, but the fact that we have this in our possession, there has never been an artifact like this that's non-human that hasn't been, hoovered up by the deep state and the covert programs that have been keeping it secret.
How did the Mexicans get it? Kudos to them.
Well, there's a researcher there named Jaime Mason, who I've known for 30 years, who went down to Colombia where it landed and acquired it from the people who were safeguarding it and brought it back to Mexico City. So I took Congressman Burleson there in June to look at this with us. We've done all this scientific studies.
I didn't know. You're breaking a lot of new stuff here. Wow. And then we have all these other congressmen coming out and saying, I've seen it, it would scare you, but they're not going to release it. It's all true. We have the craft. Right. It's all, that's total vindication. So what is what are all these congressmen and women talking about?
Well, what they're talking about, which have been shared in SCIFs, secure compartment information facilities where top secret information is exchanged, are cases that I have provided to law enforcement and military. I can speak about it because this is information I've acquired as a non-governmental entity, whereas they can't, which is ironic. And this involves all sorts of weird hybridization programs where we have taken captured extraterrestrial biological material and basically cloned it or combined it with human and created these freakish Frankenstein-like creatures that the general public think are, quote, aliens. These are the ones that are doing the abductions and the mutilations and all kinds of horrible things. And it sounds like science fiction, and I wish it
Which
was,
is what you said decades ago, is it secret human projects, just like they can find a woolly mammoth bone and bring back mammoths. That's a done deal. We're talking Jurassic Park here.
Well, the other thing people don't realize, they're using man-made UFOs to move around. In other words, you will hear from 3 or 4 military guys on May 8th describing man-made, one of them 300 feet across, an octagon, where they were transporting humans crated up with little HVAC systems on them. And this is a Marine special operations guy, and his account, it was chilling. And then what happened, we have some Delta Force guys who, at a black site I won't name here, that confirmed it and knew where those were being taken to and what they were doing with it. So a lot of it is shocking material. Now I've known of this since the 90s.
I was going to say, you said 30 years ago, this separate X-Protect group, whatever you want to call it, they're going to false flag and blame the aliens and claim it's an alien attack. And now we're getting it from Congress, we're getting it from Delta Force. It's incredible. So
what we're trying to do, and the reason we're doing this National Press Club event, I wish you could be there, is that we're going to make it quite clear what the truth is versus the fiction. Now, one of the things is an early indicator that's worrisome is that Robert Bigelow of Bigelow Aerospace, which is now closed, has been advising the president to do a kind of a partial or fake disclosure. He calls it a soft disclosure, which basically would cover up all the criminal activity that both his company, Bigelow Aerospace,
and just interrupt, that sounds like the Epstein thing where they do a limited hangout. That will be disastrous.
And it won't work this time. And the reason it won't work is even more than Epstein. There are some members of Congress that I have connected to, black site operators, and they have been taken there. And they now know this is true. So if they start, in other words, the big part of the secret, let me be clear, isn't that we're not alone in the universe. Any moron can surmise that. But the real secret is that 80% of what you see out there that they call UFOs are our man-made ones that are being used in criminal enterprises, drug running, child trafficking, human trafficking, all manner of skullduggery.
It's the perfect cover, but I got to interrupt and throw this in because I track things. I read stuff. I remember who's right. I don't remember if it was the time before or the time before that. One of the last times you came on, you said there's Delta Force, there's a task force, Trump's finally doing this. Members of Congress are going to these black sites. And then Tim Burchett comes out and says, yeah, we've gone to the black sites, we've seen it, but I can't tell you anymore. It's national security. I don't want to get arrested. You got Matt Gaetz saying that. I mean, everyone's tracking with what you're saying. Months later, it's exactly as you said. So I know there's a lot you can't bring out and release at this time, but I think you've proven you're not saying the dam's broken. You said it, and now we know it's broken.
It is. Yeah, it has broken. It broke back in the late 50s. Remember, we suffered, our republic suffered a unacknowledged coup d'etat in the late 50s. After Eisenhower, he was wanting to bring out these technologies. He was wanting to have a peaceful rapprochement with the non-human extraterrestrial people. That was subverted by the military-industrial complex and corporate oligarchs. And there was essentially, on this issue, I'm not kidding, a coup d'etat that has never been publicly acknowledged. And there has really been, the U.S. government, constitutional government, has really not had proper oversight and control of these operations since the late 1950s.
And that's what you have been saying forever, and now it's a perfect example. Yep. We think the deep state's FEMA and the deep state's the CIA stealing elections. That's just the upper crust of this.
Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, this is what we're talking about is the crown jewel of the deep state. It's and it's not just U.S., it's a global operation. And a key part of it is if this were to come out truthfully, within 15, 20 years, we wouldn't need Iranian or Saudi Arabian oil. It'd all be obsolete because the technologies. This is why this boogosphere, this sphere that we're going to disclose at the National Press Club, that thing has no internal identifiable means of propulsion or energy.
Start over, because you don't just, every time you say you got something, you bring it out. The boogosphere, spell it, go slow, repeat it. Found in South America, brought to Mexico City, scientists, you've seen it, you brought members of Congress, you named them to see it. literally, I guess, how'd you carbon dated or however you knew, 12,000 plus years old from the last ice age. Obviously, in theory, it's being reactivated, but regardless, you have this. Are you going to show video of it, or are you going to have this in D.C.?
No, the security around trying to move that into D.C. from where it is in a vault would be too high risk.
Oh, I bet the deep state would grab it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's what we're
start over
and
recap. This is so huge, but you're about to have actual, would you call it alien technology revealed publicly the first time?
Correct. And we have it. We've been studying it, and it is extraordinary. And what's interesting, there is some writing around the top of this sphere that is Proto-Sanskrit, which we believe originated from another star system, and it was the root of all Indo-European languages from Sanskrit. But this is a type of Proto-Sanskrit, and the thing is fascinating. You know, the whole press conference with all these new whistleblowers and the Boogosphere is only an hour and a half, so we're going to have to move very quickly through it. But the next day, we're going to do an event here for 4 hours, and people can see that by webinar if they can't. It's sold out.
Is this a photo of it?
Yes, there's the photo of it. There's the Proto-Sanskrit around the perimeter of what looked like a circuitry.
I was about to say, yeah.
My team were the ones who took the metal samples, and out of the perimeter and the equator of this, there are some resin material that are in 31 little portals, and we tested that, and that's where we tested it to be 12,560 years old from the time of the last end of the last ice age. And I think
so. You were able to get particles from Earth that are embedded in it and get the date.
No, these were functional parts of it because there were microscopic fiber optics in this resin that are around the equator of this Boogosphere. It's a very fascinating piece of technology. Now, remember, when it first landed, it weighed about 2 pounds. Now it weighs 22 pounds. So because when it first landed, 2 kilograms, which is about 4.5 pounds. And it is something that when it first landed also was cold to the touch. A farmer nearby grabbed it. When it got disabled, it got shorted out near a power line. We have the video of it, and he grabbed it. It was just a regular guy out in the country in Colombia, South America, and it was cold to the touch, and it was very light. But then over a few weeks, as it became the circuitry died, it gained its mass back. Now, people say, how is that possible? Well, these technologies that are electromagnetic field propulsion technologies result in what we call a mass cancellation effect, where the actual weight of something is reduced and it can float around and move as if it has no weight at all, like it's in an anti-gravity system, which it is. Now, the other thing that's interesting, the CAT scans on the interior don't show any moving parts or things that would look as an energy source. There's no radioactivity, there's no oil, there's no jet rockets, there's nothing. So this is truly an electromagnetic anti-gravity field device.
Well, Plato said where the Trojans were, and they thought he was wrong. They later dug up the city there. But he also wrote about flying machines that they had. Could this be an earlier human civilization? Because take Sanskrit, I'm not an expert on it. But you go back to all stuff about the Anunnaki and all that, and I haven't taken DMT, but I talked to doctors about people that have, and I'm sure you've heard of this, but I was talking to a medical doctor just a few weeks ago who said he wanted to check it out, so he did it, where you do the laser test, you shoot a laser through this prism, and then you see Sanskrit, but it's different. It's like this, an alien Sanskrit, like you're seeing the Matrix code. Have you heard of this?
Oh, yes. And, the Earth holds many mysteries. But the fact this was not just an artifact laying in the ground, this was flying around. And now we have, about a dozen videos of different encounters. So there are a lot of these flying around right now. And my reason
I was about to say, this looks kind of like the Tic Tacs and things we see everywhere.
Well, the Tic Tacs are actually Lockheed Skunk Works. Now, that's the other thing. We have a Green Beret who's coming, who was deployed in a covert operation in the Middle East. And on the tarmac was the Tic Tac ready to be deployed. And so this is where when David Fravor first came forward, who chased the Tic Tac, and it got into the news, I let him know. He couldn't believe it. I said, I'm sorry to tell you, that is not alien. That is one of ours, but it's a super secret engineering out of the Lockheed Skunk Works. Now, Raytheon, Lockheed Skunk Works, Northrop Grumman, they all have these systems. And this has been the big shock for Senate Intelligence and House Oversight and White House people is that right under our noses, funded by we the people, as well as some criminal revenue sources, have been these developments. Sure. And, nobody knew it. I mean, this is,
I've been saying this for 30 years. What are the big flying Vs? We know that's older technology, and they even show space planes that look like it. But I've talked to military that were in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they multiple people, like special forces, and they said, we'd be in the middle of a big engagement, and we'd have air support, and then a few times they would look way up and see one of these things, and then just all of a sudden, Trump talks about discombobulator, all of a sudden the group they were fighting would just run. So I guess,
Right. So we have them, and this is the big problem also. When the technology that humans have from 80 years of reverse engineering and some of the most brilliant scientists I've ever met working those programs, my uncle for his whole career was Northrop Grumman. And what you begin to realize is that most people are not going to be able to distinguish in a false flag operation whether it's extraterrestrial or human, because our technology is that good. But this is dangerous because you have senior military people. I tell people, look, back years ago, I briefed the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, General Hughes, back in 1999. He had no knowledge of these systems, even though I had whistleblowers from DIA on my team.
So they've kept it heavily compartmentalized.
Heavily compartmentalized, and to the point that if they don't trust the president or a general, unless you're willing to be part of a criminal transnational organization, a transnational criminal organization, they're not going to tell you anything. And I don't care who you are, the president, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, whatever. And this is unconstitutional and treasonous. So one of the things we have pointed out is that until this has gotten under control, we've asked the president to be quietly to get these programs stood down. And I think that's happening. And then bring out the technologies, at least the energy ones, so we can get off oil and transition to a new economy and a new civilization over the next 20 years.